from China. Their amazing stunts, their flash and dazzle leave audiences around the world spellbound. But this is pure Hollywood. Today, there will be no flaming hoops or spinning saucers. Instead, we will see the danger and precision of competitive acrobatics, a sport that requires a discipline all its own. It requires the speed and strength of gymnastics and incredible air sense, because tumblers at times reach 12 feet in the air. And as in figure skating, there is the extraordinary beauty and grace of mixed pairs, where synchronization of movement is the barometer. Thomas Jefferson got a heck of a bargain when he purchased Louisiana back in 1803 for 15 million clams. 57 years later, Louisiana State University opened its doors here in Baton Rouge, where today more than 20,000 attend classes, an extraordinary number involved in athletics. Today, our focus is on sports acrobatics. ESPN, the Total Sports Network, presents the 1987 World Cup for Sports Acrobatics, a derivative of gymnastics most of you have never seen before. We're at the Tiger Den on the campus of Louisiana State University Assembly Hall as Baton Rouge plays host to the World Cup of Sports Acrobatics. Hello, everybody. I'm Phil Stone. Today, more than 100 athletes from 9 nations are gathered here for the 1987 World Cup of Sports Acrobatics. Joining me is a former 3-time world champion in artistic gymnastics, Kurt Thomas. And Kurt, what's the biggest difference from what we'll see tonight from what we see from the Chinese acrobats of Canton?
Well, you won't see people pyramiding on top of chairs, and you won't see people diving through hoops like the Chinese acrobats of Canton. But what you will see is some terrific performances with hand balancing, different types of tosses. And this differs from artistic gymnastics in that in artistic gymnastics you have a fixed piece of apparatus, the pommel horse, the balance beam. Here you have a person, a body, a human underneath you. And there's a lot of different variables, 2 different people. You have to do a lot of different skills together.
Kurt, sports acrobatics is a relatively new sport. Began in the Soviet Union only 12 years ago, and I suppose the Eastern Bloc nations are still the ones to beat.
They really are. Look at the Soviets to be the tops here, I think. Very strong, very confident. Been doing their routines for a long time. Watch also for the Bulgarians. They're tough. And then the People's Republic of China is represented here as well, and they look terrific.
How about the United States? How far are they behind?
Well, we have a pairs couple that's doing really well in this competition. I believe at this point they're 4th, and hopefully they can move up. We've had some world champions in the past, a world champion, Steve Elliott, and we'll see what we can do.
All right, Kurt, the stage is set. The crowd is gathered here at the Tiger Den on the campus of LSU. It's the World Cup of Sports Acrobatics. Kurt and I will be back to bring it to you in just a moment. Welcome back to the LSU Assembly Center. It's the 1987 World Cup for Sports Acrobatics. I'm Phil Stone along with Kurt Thomas. All week long, competition has been continuing. And Kurt, earlier the Chinese women's trio put on quite a show.
Phil, this is their combination routine, one of the required routines. Now, here you'll see a toss, which is a requirement. That's a front catch. Another requirement is a dismount. From the basket position, here's a dismount. We call it a full in, back out. Double back with a full twist. The acrobats are also required to perform balance skills. Here you'll see the lower girl kick to a handstand, and the top girl will press to a gut lever, showing balance. Must be held for 3 seconds.
Kurt, is there a maximum time on these overall combination routines?
In the combination routine, they're allowed 3 minutes to perform their routine. Here's some tumbling, which is also required. Synchronized dance. The acrobats must cover all areas of the floor.
The Chinese women's trio. And you're looking at 14-year-old Chow Wen-Chu, her first international competition. They went on to win the silver medal with the score of 9.80. And this is the Bulgaria women's trio, their overall routine.
Here's a tumbling pass right into a cabriolet, pressed to a handstand. Now here's a balance. The requirements, straddle down. And she'll do another balance, called a plunge, 3 seconds. Gymnast is scored on a 10-0 routine. 10, maximum amount of points. There's a dismount, full in pike.
The Bulgarian women's trio went on to win the gold medal with a score of 9.86, but that was the only routine in which they will compete, unlike gymnastics, Kurt.
Right, in gymnastics, artistic gymnastics, there are 6 men's events, 4 women's events. In sports acrobatics, there are 2. This is the tumbling event.
And this is Bulgaria's Penka Nenova, 2-time world champion.
She started with a round-off back handspring, full in pike, 3 back handsprings to a nice high double tuck. Little step on that landing.
Penka Nenova, a score of 9.66, and that's good enough for the silver. And the lady who has the outstanding shot at a gold medal here in Baton Rouge from the Soviet Union, Elena Bogeva.
Now the judges are watching for the tumblers to stay right on that middle line. There's a double pike, through to a whip, whip, back handspring, double full punch front.
Kurt, the sound of them coming down that ramp is almost deafening. Why is it different here from in artistic gymnastics?
Well, here they're tumbling on a very powerful coiled spring floor. It's much different than in artistic gymnastics where you have a 40 by 40 small spring floor. Tremendous amount of height. So she performed a beautiful whip out of a double pike. Another whip. There's a twisting, which is involved in the combination. She flips and twists, and a twist and punch front.
With a bad leg in hand. Good enough to win the gold medal here at the World Cup. Thus far, we have seen the women's trio, and now we move to the mixed pairs, where Jay Groves and Christine Van Loo of New Orleans take center stage. Both prior bronze medalists, but Kurt, they have only been together as a team now in 2 years.
And in only 2 years, they're developing this routine. They really think that we can help. The crowd has gotten involved in their routine. Beautiful toss to the hand here. Could have been a little bit more precise. There's a toss to a front flip catch to the knee. Very nice to the knee.
As dangerous as it appears.
It really is. Much for the hammer to smash to his leg, his knee, teaching him falling to the floor. You really have to be confident in your partner. And I think that's one of the areas where Sylvia is so tough. They're so confident to work together for so long and really perfected their team. Nice choice of music. Very upbeat. This is the combined routine once again. They're showing you a balance to a toss and a full twist dismount. That's where they can add some difficulty. They could add another back somersault, making it a full in back out, or a double back with a full twist. That will help their routine.
Representing the United States, Jay Groves and Christine Van Loo. That performance good enough for 4th overall here in Baton Rouge. From the Soviet Union, this is Nellie Miller and Evgeny Marshenko. Kurt, they have an excellent shot at a gold medal tonight.
And this is how it's done, in my opinion. They are right on. This is the difference between good and great. They're very synchronized. Good dancers, both of them. And the confidence that she has in him, the strength that he has, gives her that confidence. Now watch this. A back 2 1/4 to a beautiful swan catch. That's what we're talking about with confidence. In order for her to open up like that, she's got to believe in her partner.
That's a good point, Kurt. Confidence, that ability to believe in what your partner can do, really carries you to a gold medal in this event.
It does, and I think when the U.S. can spend as much time training as these two do, they're going to be right up there with them.
It was flawless. Nellie Miller and Evgeny Marchenko. And take a look, a perfect score. And that is gold medal material. We have seen the women's tumbling, and now the men take center stage. It is Feng Tao standing 70 feet away.
And he starts with a round-off flip-flop. Nice high double front pike Arabian to a full-in layout. Beautifully done. Wow.
It looked to be a perfect performance, the tumbling routine of Feng Tao.
Watch it again here in slow motion. You see the technique that the Chinese have is superb. Starts with a round-off, changing his direction. Back handspring. Look at this height on his double front Arabian. Steps out of it. Another round-off back handspring. Another one to get a little speed built up. Here's a layout, double layout with a full twist, and look at the landing.
One of the biggest differences I see, Kurt, is that in the United States, our youngsters grow up playing youth soccer and t-ball. In China, before they walk, they're tumbling and doing acrobatics.
They really do, and also in the Soviet Union, it's part of their physical education. There's that double layout with a full, beautiful form in the air, and look at the landing, perfect.
For China's Feng Tao, his last of 3 tumbling runs.
There are the scores. Now they throw the high score and the low score out and average the middle scores.
Very close competition, and he'll leave with a silver medal. From the Soviet Union, it is Sergei Pogiba.
And watch this guy tumble. Starts with a round-off back handspring, full in, full out, with back handspring, double back. Little hop on the landing and a step, so that'll cost him about a 10th. Here it is again in slow motion. Once again, beautiful technique on his round-off here. There's a back handspring. He does a double twisting double back. 2 twists, 2 somersaults in a layout position. There's a whip back, a back handspring to pick up speed again. Another one. Beautiful. Nice high, tuck double back, kicks out, and look at the landing. A little step.
From the Soviet Union, Sergei Pogiba, fellow tumbler, Eugene Ivanov looking on, and that's the gold medal performance right there. Earlier this week, we also saw the men's fours from the People's Republic of China. A terrific performance from a group that ranges in age from 15 to 30.
They started their routine here with a side stummy, synchronization, and moved right here to one of the requirements. This is the 3 high foos up, or a step up. Now watch this. 2 1/4 back to a beautiful catch. Chinese are very dynamic in all of their skills.
From the People's Republic of China, the gold medal winning performance. That wrapped up the first 2 days of competition here at LSU. When we return, the tempo finals in acrobatics and the twisting routines in... This is the twisting routines in the tumbling competition from the People's Republic of China, Xingang Hu.
Now in the twisting run, the tumbler must perform at least 1.5 twists within his tumbling. He starts with a round-off back handspring, triple twisting double layout. Wow! Now that's a skill that Steve Elliott introduced to gymnastics a few years ago, and he did it in a tuck position. 2 somersaults and 3 twists. Watch it in slow motion. Here's his round-off. Back handspring, takes it up nice and high. There's 1, 2, and a 3rd twist in a laid-out position. Wow.
4 years ago, this 28-year-old from China won 3 gold medals at the World Cup. He's a 7-time champion in China.
You can see why. Look at the height that he gets here. Look how good his form is in the air. Nice and tight and straight body. Had a little hop on the landing, but no problem.
Whose score 9.80 in the twisting competition of the men's tumbling routines. Now we move to the mixed pairs. This is the tempo competition. And from Bulgaria, 29-year-old Emil Khrustev, and 18-year-old Rosa Karastyonova. This Bulgarian team trains about 6 hours a day, and Kurt, they only take 1 day off. I suppose you can identify with that sort of regimen.
Well, that's pretty typical in gymnastics as well as this sport, because you really need the time in the gym. You need to produce routine after routine after routine. That's what gives them the confidence to be able to come out here and perform in front of an audience and to be able to really show it off, not act nervous, and get rid of the bugs, really. Now, in the tempo routine, remember to watch for different types of tosses, catches, and a dismount. You won't see any balances in this routine. Nice toss to a full twist. One thing you'll notice is the strength in the upper body of the man and also in the woman. You have to be very tight when you're performing different types of handstand positions and a lot of these catches. If you're not tight, you can really miss. There's a foos up. To a full in back out dismount. Now you notice how he catches her when she lands. That's allowed. You can catch on the dismount. Now Phil, you'll notice on some of the tumbling elements that they're doing, it's not difficult tumbling. They have to choose tumbling passes that they can both perform well and together. And it's very important. They have to be in synchronization on things. Now there you saw him perform his first, and about an 8 count later, she started hers.
Of the elements in this routine, Kurt, the tosses and the flips, it would appear as if tumbling might be the easiest of the three.
Well, you know, Phil, most of these acrobats were not tumblers. They're hand balancers, and so they don't have a large variety of tumbling skills. I think that's where the sport is going, though. There's a dislocate to a handstand, and now he'll perform a different type of toss, 1 1/4 to a full 1/2. And some dance elements here. Spend many hours in the gym every day working on their dance. To round off, back handspring, back tuck. To keep moving throughout the routine. And there's another foos up. And Arabian double front. Beautiful landing.
From Bulgaria, the mixed pair team of 29-year-old Emil Khrustev and his 18-year-old partner, Rosa Karastyonova.
Here's another look at that full in back out. Double back with a full twist and a little catch on the landing.
The Bulgarian pairs score 9.90, and that puts them in first place. But the Soviets still to come. The twisting routine of the men's tumbling competition continues now. From the Soviet Union, Sergei Ivanov, 23 years of age, got into acrobatics, Kurt, because he was too short to try out for the heralded Soviet hockey team.
And this is a powerful tumbler right here. He starts with a round-off back handspring, full in, double layout, whip, whip, back handspring through a half in, half out. Very nice routine.
Tremendous speed and power by the Soviet Union's Sergei Ivanov.
Let's watch it again. Here's a double layout with a full twist on the first somersault. Comes out of it with a whip. Back handspring, building some speed up. Another one to a half in, double front, half out.
Coming into this final run, Ivanov was tied with the Chinese for the gold medal, and his score of 9.86 gives Sergei Ivanov the gold medal here at the 1987 World Cup of Sports Acrobatics. Welcome back to the 1987 World Cup for Sports Acrobatics. It's the Soviet Union's team of Evgeny Marchenko and Nellie Miller. Earlier you saw this Soviet pair win a gold medal in the combined routine. And it's no surprise as they head for the tempo finals that they are in a position to win their second gold, Kurt. After all, this is where sports acrobatics all began some 12 years ago.
It's interesting to note that they also use chalk. Just as in artistic gymnastics, we use chalk for the apparatus. The apparatus this time is their partner.
Oh, the one thing that comes to mind watching sports acrobatics, Kurt, is this perhaps is the ultimate form of teamwork.
It really is, especially with this pair. You're going to see a routine here that I think will top them all. Now watch this first tumbling run. She runs right into him, forms a round-off double pike open over his head in a laid-out position. Beautifully done. That's the confidence we're talking about. For him to throw her like that and her to stay tight in the air and feel the confidence and know she can make each skill. It's a foose-up half turn. And a double front. Catches her back, swings her under, and throws her for another 1.25. Wow. They make it look so easy, too. That's the big part of this sport. To make it look easy, to make it look effortless, but believe me, it's not. I'll tell you another tough part is for him to move the way he does. That's a big guy out there.
Kurt, the one thing that comes to mind in watching Marchenko is that he would be well past his prime if he were an artistic gymnast.
Absolutely, and in many cases, way too big. This guy's probably about 6'3", and he probably weighs about 190. Once again, look at the way they move together. Terrific dancers. An interesting note also, Phil, I found out earlier that this is boyfriend and girlfriend here. Might help the routine a little bit.
That's got to be awfully difficult, keeping their unison together with their size difference.
Well, it's an advantage as well. I mean, for him to throw her, she stays tight there on a nice double full.
Well, look at their movement, the fluidity of the dance segment.
Well, one of the things they're judging on is synchronization, and look at them. They drop at the same time, same exact movement, even though he is that big. What a routine.
Evgeny Marchenko and Nellie Miller of the Soviet Union in a bid for their second gold medal here at the 1987 World Cup for sports acrobatics.
Well, they have to be pleased with that routine. There's their tumbling teammate, congratulating her a little bit.
And in the mixed pair competition, a score of 9.86. And that mark will send them into a tie for the gold medal with the Bulgarian pairs. The Chinese finish in third place. The American pairs of Jay Groves and Christine Van Loo finish fourth. We'll be back in a moment. This is the Chinese women's trio. You'll recall they won a silver medal earlier in the competition. And Kurt, now it's the tempo finals of the acrobatics routines.
Yes, now remember the tempo finals are different from the balance and the combination routines. Those are separate routines. This is their tempo routine, an individual event that they're trying to win as a trio here. In the tempo routine, look for tosses, catches, and also dismounts. Preparing to start their routine here. March into position. And they start with some dance elements at the beginning of the routine. Synchronization is very important, remember. It's very difficult for the little girl to perform a lot of the skills, dance skills that the bigger girls are performing at the same time and make it look good. Now watch this, a tumbling pass, round off back handspring, double pike overhead. Here's some synchronization. lot of practice to keep things all together like this.
Kurt, are there required elements in the tempo routines?
There are. The required elements are catches, tosses, tumbling skills, individual skills too. Here's another tumbling skill. There's a round-off half twist to a handstand, straddle position, and a front catch to a straddle. Here's a full in back out, double back with a full twist. Showing some flexibility there and a couple kicks. And another tumbling pass here. There's a round off, full twisting cabriole to a handstand. And a 1.5 pike off. As you can see, Phil, they mix the routine up with the different types of tosses, catches, and the dance.
Kurt, what do those tosses take out of a gymnast or an acrobat physically?
Well, physically, it's real difficult to learn them because you have to go over and over again. Actually, the actual physical part of it is not too tough, actually going into it. You have two people in that particular instance throwing her, and she doesn't weigh that much. Right on in those straddles. You know, they've chosen a lot of difficult synchronization type skills too. And I'm sure that that's taken into consideration during the judging. All right.
Well, certainly the degree of difficulty was there for the Chinese trio trying to improve on their silver medal they won earlier in the competition. And it was superb.
Here's a slow motion look at that half-twisting handstand to straddle position. That's how tight she is and what terrific form she has. Look at her feet. And there's a 3/4 front in the straddle position. Beautifully done. And look at the strength in her arms. Talk about being tight and being strong. There's the score, 9.8 for the women's trio.
But will it be enough to catch the Bulgarians who come into their tempo routine with a pretty hefty lead for the gold medal? The Bulgarians all week long so very, very strong in not only the platform tumbling but also the pairs and group competitions.
Again, their strength is in their dance. They obviously have the difficulty in the pitches and the catches, but watch these ladies dance.
Well, it has certainly been the dance segments of the routines, Kurt, that has set both the Bulgarians and the Soviets apart from the rest of this very elite field that has gathered here this week in Baton Rouge.
Look at the style. How they work together so well. Now preparing for a very difficult toss. Double twisting,
yes.
double back. Beautifully done. That's the most difficult toss I've seen. Look at the synchronization, their head movements, their shoulders, their arms, everything together. That's what this sport is all about. They're not just competing, they're performing out there, Phil. And that's the difference between good and great. Choreography there. Beautifully.
The Bulgarians coming into this tempo finals with a big lead for the gold medal.
You can see why. Basically, all they have to do is get through this routine, and I think they can take it. Preparing for another beautiful toss here. There's a back handspring to the hands into a cabriole. Swing up to a handstand. And a pike 1 1/4. 3 very difficult tosses right together. Oh, look at the split leaps. What a beautiful sport. Turning out for another toss. Double layout. Beautiful form in the air.
The Bulgarian women's trio in the finals of their tempo routine are flawless. And this crowd here in Baton Rouge responds to a superb performance.
And the coach responds as well. Terrific routine. Here's another slow motion look at the cabriole. She swings down in a pike. Look at the flexibility. Swings right up to a handstand. And now the toss. 1 1/4. Pike open. Beautifully done.
And their scores after the finals of the tempo routine, 9.93. They had a total of 3 10s in that routine. It's good enough to win the gold by a bundle. With Kurt Thomas, I'm Phil Stone, and this is the 1987 World Cup for Sports Acrobatics. Earlier in the competition, the Soviet Union's Elena Bogeva won the overall tumbling competition. But today in the finals of the straight pass competition, Kurt, she injured herself.
Yes, and we've been told that she pulled a hamstring. It looks like she hurt her ankle. Now watch, she does a double pike and can't land because she hurt her hamstring. Now, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but you can pull your hamstring by taking off like that in that direction. Very painful injury. And there really isn't much you can do but sit there. And coach taking her off here.
I suppose, in addition to the physical pain and injury, it's the emotional and perhaps the embarrassment of it all.
It really is. You know, she won the gold medal in the all-around overall competition, but here's another chance to win at the straight pass competition, which is a pass without twisting. Now, you'll see it in slow motion here. It doesn't appear like she's having any trouble with her leg as she runs. She does her round off, back handspring. Now, right here, boom, where she takes off, that's where she pulled it. She's stuck in with her double pike because you have to, otherwise you can really injure yourself by landing on your head or whatever, but right there you can see where she took off, and that's where she strained her leg.
And now we're having some discrepancy, Kurt, as to whether in fact it's a hamstring or possibly an ankle. But
well, it looks like an ankle injury by the way she takes off, but there she hooks her foot, showing you that it's possibly the hamstring. Now they're attending to her ankle there, but she's in a lot of pain, as you can see.
And now the door is wide open for China's Yuping Zhang. She's 17 years old from the Sichuan province.
And this is her twisting pass. In the finals, they can perform either twisting or straight pass. She's performing a twisting pass.
This is her first time appearing in a World Cup competition.
Starts her run. A lot of speed up, round off back handspring, double twisting, double layout. Pike the last part around just to make sure that she made it to her feet. And she had a little trouble in the air. She had a small form break in the air, which the judges can see from their point. There it is in slow motion again. There's the round off, back handspring. There's a full twist, another full twist, followed by a pike back. Here's an aerial view of that particular skill. Now you can see the form break in the air, and her feet should be together when she lands. A couple small deductions.
China's Yuping Zhang, when she's not flying through the air, she loves to sing Chinese folk songs. And look at that score, 9.80. Now we move on to the men's fours. This is the Soviet team. And Kurt, earlier in the day, the Soviet coach was telling me the hardest thing about the men's fours competition has absolutely nothing to do with the flips and the tosses, but keeping these 4 guys together. They're all in their mid-20s, and now they've all started to develop individual interests.
Well, it's been a problem in the past. I think now that the sport has become recognized internationally and will become an Olympic sport, they're going to hang in there for it.
Now 9 nations represented in this World Cup competition, but Kurt, I have a feeling when it does become an Olympic sport in the not-too-distant future, more and more countries are going to get involved. When is it going to hit the Olympic scene?
Well, in 1992, it'll be an exhibition sport. In 1996, it will be a full-fledged Olympic sport.
The Soviet men's fours don't seem to have that same synchronization, that fluidity of movement we have come to see from the Bulgarians and the Chinese.
Especially in their dance. Now, skill-wise, they have a tremendous amount of difficulty. Right here is a full twist to the shoulders. Extremely difficult maneuver. But you're right, they don't have the dance ability at this point.
You know, these maneuvers we have seen throughout this competition for many, many years were confined to circus routines, and now these sports acrobats are carrying it to a new high.
They really are. There was just a double front with a half twist to a perfect basket catch. Another full twist toss, and the bottom men changed. There's a dive roll.
And listen to the selection of music here. It's the old Russian folk music. More and more Soviet performers in the past several years, Kurt, have gone to the big band and the Broadway sounds. I'm a little bit surprised.
Yeah, that's limiting them as well in their dance. But they're fulfilling all the requirements.
And that is what the judges are looking for.
It really is. And they have way more than enough difficulties, especially on their tosses.
Watch here the guys with their arms interlocked. The height of that toss.
Double back. To a half turn to the shoulders. There isn't really anywhere to deduct. Their form is good in the air. They're very solid on their catches. There's a pike up to a handstand. Well, that's interesting. Full twisting handspring. There's a Brenny out, pike Brenny out, double front with a half twist. Synchronized dance.
The Soviet men's fours. Well, they certainly had all of the required elements. The tosses, the flips, they were outstanding.
Here's a slow motion look at some of the precise movements that they've made. Now, we talked about form in the air. That means keeping your legs together, toes pointed, keeping your knees straight when they're supposed to be straight. And watch this, he'll press up to a handstand. Look how tight his body is. Throws from the hands, does a full twisting handspring. Didn't even budge when he landed. Same thing for his dismount. He does a Branny out, double front with a half twist off. Beautiful form in the air. Very well executed.
Coming into this round, the Soviets trail the Chinese by 4/100ths of a point, and that 9.80 score, very impressive. The Chinese come. They have a shot at the gold. Also ahead, more women's tumbling. Welcome back to Baton Rouge. The twisting women's tumbling routines from the Soviet Union, Irina Medvedeva.
Irina starts with a round-off back handspring, full twisting whip, flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flop,
Oh, yeah.
full end back out. Little hop on the landing. It's extremely difficult for the tumblers to land on this surface. It's so bouncy. And that's one of the deductions that the judges come up with. We'll see it once again here from the side. Here's her round-off, flip-flop, full twisting whip, back handspring, back handspring, back handspring, full twisting, double back. There's that hop. You see the surface bouncing that way. Extremely difficult to land.
Irina Medvedeva's score, 9.80, and she certainly doesn't appear to be upset at all with that mark. From the tumbling routine, again, we return now to the tempo. It's the Chinese men's four. Coming into this final routine, they held a slim 4/100ths of a point lead over the Soviet men's four for the gold medal. And this is a team, Kurt, that has been together for a long, long time, and they know each other's movements inside and out.
And you'll see that right here. They're very exciting to watch. The way they put their routine together, the choreography, everything from the tosses to the dance, it's just fun to watch.
The man on the extreme left, he's the biggest. Ma Sufu is 30 years old. He is a practicing kung fu artist, and he told me on 3 occasions he has had a car roll over his abdomen to prove his strength.
I believe it. Watch the height on this first move. Look at the swan dive. Went out of our camera to a turntable. Look how the little guy just stays right with the other guys in the dance. Preparing for a basket toss here. Now, I saw them working on a triple back in a tuck position. Let's see if they throw it.
He's
There
up
it is.
there.
1, 2, 3. Wow. Look at the height on each one of their skills. You know, that little guy's got to be really strong in order to take not only the landings, but the way these guys are throwing them around.
Well, he's 15 years old. His name is Chen Gang, and he hails from the Sichuan province of China.
Synchronized tumbling with a side stummy there. Transitional dance movements. Turning now for another basket toss. Nice high double twist. Look how slow and high he was. To an easy double back. And now, the corners. Ready for some more tumbling. Nice layout sides.
The Chinese men's fours, they are certainly the class of the competition here in Baton Rouge.
There's a push-up, 3 high. There's a 2 1/4 back off. Beautiful. There's a neat skill. Look at that. I haven't seen that before.
It's a Chinese original.
There's a neat ending here. Yeah.
You know, Kurt, when they came out on the mat for their routine, there was a tremendous sense of anticipation from this crowd gathered here at Assembly Center, and they certainly did not disappoint those who came to watch. The first standing ovation we have seen in this competition, and deservedly so.
All right, look at him coming out for another bow. That's great.
The Chinese men's fours, unquestionably a gold medal performance.
Well, let's see what the judges come up with. Here's a slow motion look at that triple back. Look at this. 1, 2, 3 to a perfect landing. Didn't even flinch.
Will the scores be good enough to take the gold back to Sichuan province? Indeed it is, a 9.90. And there you look at 15-year-old Chen Gang, who has not only mastered the art of acrobatics, but billiards as well. What a show, the Chinese men's fours. And now from Bulgaria, and the twisting tumbling routine, it is Penka Nenova. 23 years of age, and Kurt, you would never believe that lady is a chocoholic.
Not with that figure.
In 1984, when the World Championships were held in Bulgaria, Penka Nenova won the gold medal in the overall. But this will be her last year. She is going on to coaching.
Well, she's performing a twisting pass here. And she starts out with a round off back handspring, full in back out in the layout position. Beautiful landing. Obviously, the landing will count a lot in this particular event. She stuck it solid. Here's a slow motion look at that again. It's round off back handspring. There's a full twist on the first somersault, followed by another back somersault. Look at the landing. Here it is again. Little form break in the air. That's really about all they can hit her on.
Again, the landings have been difficult for the tumblers this entire competition. And her score, 9.90, and she hit it well enough as Penka Nenova of Bulgaria has won the gold medal. Medvedeva of the Soviet Union takes home, and Zhang from the People's Republic of China wins the bronze. In the men's fours competition, China the gold medalist, followed by the Soviet Union and Poland. Earlier today in the finals of the men's straight somersault competition, the top 3 men all had the ability to pull off the triple back, and the first that had a shot at it was Bulgaria's Sviatoslav Slava.
Before his triple back, he did some nice whip work. There's his triple back and a big step on the landing. Now that's what it's going to come down to, but boy, what a performance.
And Kurt, as he came off the ramp, I think he agreed with that analysis. He felt he had done a good job, possibly good enough to win the gold.
Well, anytime you just make a triple, I think you're real happy just to land on your feet, because the next guy might not do that. Here's his whip work. Here he performed his triple real high, pulled it around nicely, opened up a little bit late, and that caused that step on the landing. Here it is again. Watch how you have to reach real high. It's out of our camera. Pulls around that third one.
Bulgaria's Svetoslav Slavov. Will it be good enough for the gold? His score, 9.76. And now the Bulgarian will sit and wait as the Soviet Union's Sergei Pogiba will make his final run in a dead heat with China's Feng Tao.
Now talk about difficulty. He has a double layout before he did his triple. Whip, flip-flop, flip-flop. There's this triple. Nice landing, but another big step. The judges will take into consideration the difficulty prior to the triple back on his. Not only did he do whip work, but he also performed a double layout within that pass. There's his whip. Backhand spring to get a little speed going. Wasn't quite as high, but he pulled it around nicely. And again, took a pretty big step. Another angle of it. There's his round off backhand spring. Double layout before a triple back. Incredible. Whip, backhand spring, reaches up nice and high, pulls it around. Once again, a big step.
For the Soviet Union's Sergei Pogiba, a score of 9.76, which equals the mark we saw a moment ago from Svetoslav Slavov. And now, the gold medal rests squarely in the tumbling ability of China's Feng Tao. He has a shot to win it all.
And the reason he has a shot is because he pikes his triple back. There's a whip through, nice high triple back in a pike position, took a step, but it was a controlled step. And also added the difficulty with that pike triple.
And you get the feeling that Tao knew when he hit the landing that he had done well enough to take the gold back to China.
He knew. Let's watch it again. It's beautifully done. There's his round off, backhand spring, whip, 2 backhand springs. Look at his form in the air here. It's really difficult to rotate in that pike position. It's tough enough in a tuck.
Feng Tao awaits the scoring, and there it is, a 9.90. And the difference between the gold and silver medal in this finals competition is Tao's pike right there. Pogiba of the Soviet Union takes home the silver. Slavov of Bulgaria wins the bronze. The carnival atmosphere continues here at Assembly Hall on the campus of Louisiana State University. But here in this neck of the woods, carnivals last all year long. Phil Stone back with Kurt Thomas. Boy, what a show they put on. The 1987 edition, Kurt, of the World Cup Sports Acrobatics. And I want to talk about the mixed pairs. There was no better show.
Well, Miller and Marchenko definitely showed us what it's all about. Precision and grabbing the crowd and taking them and taking off with their routine. Unbelievable. They deserve the win.
Kurt, were you surprised at the Chinese men's four?
I was surprised at a triple back. I'd never seen a triple back from a basket toss, and that was incredible.
As we said at the outset of our telecast, this is a sport that 12 years ago began in Russia, dominated by the Eastern Bloc countries, and that certainly proved to be the case this time around as well.
It really was. The Soviets were so precise in all their movements. They were so clean. You can tell that they've been really doing their homework. It gave us a lot to go by, though. Now we know where we stand. I think the Americans can really put some work behind it and come up on them.
Kurt, as a former world-class gymnast, a world record holder 3 times, what do the Americans have to do now to get competitive at the world-class level?
I think it's going to take a lot of training together to be as precise as the Soviet Chinese, to get their dance ability up a little bit, to increase their difficulty in some of their balance skills and their tosses, and to really just get the sport catching on in the U.S. We have so many people here that are involved in sports at young ages. This is the perfect place to start it. I think this exposure is going to give the sport a kick.
Well, it was quite a show. The 1987 version of the World Cup Sports Acrobatics is history. Next year, the World Championships on to Belgium, and then again in 1989, the World Cup will be held once more. For Kurt Thomas, I'm Phil Stone. Thanks for joining us from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.